I don't know about you, but as a naturally curious person who is also a voracious learner, I've watched quite a few TED Talks. In a mere 10 or 15 minutes, I can learn so much, and that's exciting. But TED Talks can also be a bit of a downer for me, because as someone who often gives presentation, they can make me feel a bit inadequate. So, before I get too far into this presentation, I want to make it clear that I know that I have room for improvement. How about you? My talk is a general overview on presentation usability for you as a content creator and for your learners in the areas of technology, visual design, and accessibility. It's not comprehensive, rather it's a starting point. So, let's start by defining usability in relation to instruction. Usability is a measurement of how well your product, in this case the presentation, allows a user, the student, to achieve a specific goal. What's your goal? Look at the stated learning objectives in your Assure Model lesson plan. Coming up is a section I'm calling Your Turn. Each Your Turn section is an opportunity for you to think about and perhaps act upon what we've just covered. You can pause the video, jot down notes, etc., and resume the video when you want to continue. Your turn. Review your Assure lesson plan. What are the learning objectives for the presentation you are creating? For this presentation, I established 3 objectives using the ABCD format. The audience, Edit 5325 students, will determine, using evaluative criteria, the optimal presentation technology, demonstrate, using that technology, basic design principles, and ensure, by using coding or embedded media, that their presentation meets accessibility standards. All of these impact how I've chosen to develop this presentation, including the technology I've used. Let's discuss presentation software. You have a lot of options, and it might seem easiest to go with what you know. But how do you determine if it's the best, or at least better, tool for meeting your objectives? First, define the type of instruction you are creating. Are you providing information, like an overview for a history class? Illustrating a process, like explaining how to conduct a lab experiment? Stimulating critical analysis, like connecting themes in literature or evaluating argument? Of course you can achieve all of these goals in PowerPoint, but is it the best instructional tool? Your turn. Looking at your plan's learning objectives, what kind of instruction are you creating? With your learner population, what are considerations you need to make in terms of attention span, distractibility, pacing? What level of movement or interactivity will engage learners? What level would distract them? What features best meet the needs of the instruction type in your learners? If you are considering trying a different presentation technology, how much time can you devote to the learning curve? What is your backup plan if the learning curve is too steep given the time constraints? Once you've tentatively decided upon a technology, now it's time to start thinking about design. The first step is to analyze your learners to consider what design elements would be most usable and appropriate. Your turn. What is your learner's age range? What environment will your audience be in? What's the emotional impact or feel of this presentation? Formal, friendly, professional, collegial, uplifting, serious? What is the learner's literacy level? Can they read script or cursive? The age of your learners should be a consideration with design, as color and typeface affect both stimulation and readability. Bright primary colors may stimulate a first grader's attention, but a barrage of colors will overstimulate and distract. Although typeface and font are used interchangeably, typeface refers to the family, like Times New Roman or Helvetica, while font refers to the variation, Arial Italic, Helvetica Bold. Aim for no more than 2 different typefaces. The suggested ratio for size difference between Level 1 headings and body text is 2:1. This means if your presentation slide text is 25 point, your heading should be 50 point. Remember that the audience's environment also affects the usability of your design. Ambient light levels affect visual contrast, as does using a projector versus a monitor. 12-point text on a laptop is more readable than 18-point text on a screen 15 feet away. Your turn. Visit fonts.google.com and choose 2 suitable typefaces for your learners. Then go to htmlcolorcodes.com/color-picker and choose a foreground, background, and accent color. Record the hex codes. Finally, let's talk about accessibility. Accessible design is not an option, but a requirement, ethically and legally. What does it take to make a presentation accessible? There are many strategies, but let's focus on visuals, sound, and alternative media. For visual elements, remember the importance of size, readability, and color. Text and important visuals should be large enough to read on screen for virtual presentations and from a distance for in-person presentations. As far as readability, a thicker font can improve readability, but highly stylized typefaces, no matter what their weight, may be difficult to read. With color, ensure that the contrast ratio is at least 3:1 for important graphics and large text. Equally important is to ensure that color is not the sole means of identifying key points, such as in data visualizations or for navigation. Your turn. Learn whether the design palette you created is accessible by entering in the hex codes in the WebAIM contrast checker located at webaim.org/resources/contrast checker. For audio, ensuring accessibility parallels presentation best practices. First, enunciate. Second, use plain language. Avoid or explain potentially unfamiliar terms or idioms. Pace yourself. Give time for people to take in and process information. Be visible. Not only are you projecting to the audience for better volume and clarity, but audiences can better understand you by seeing your facial movements and expressions. Finally, explain. Don't let the visuals and text speak for themselves. That's your job. Explain visual information in a slide and cover the concepts, not necessarily the exact wording, of the slide text. You will also want to provide alternative media for engagement. This can include captioning, signing if you have the option, providing transcripts or handouts, and digital options so that users can, for example, magnify font size. Wrapping up, remember that with this UX approach, the learning objectives and your learners are the basis for all of the decisions that follow, from the software you use to your design and even to the choices you make to ensure accessibility. Thanks for watching.